Pat's ready.
Okay, let's bring in Jeff Paterson, our Canucks reporter, the host of RinkWide Vancouver from Rogers Arena. He joins us live after, a busy and newsy morning. Did Blake get it right, Jeff? Was the part of the plan maintenance days for Demko, just not exactly this urgently today?
Yeah, I think you guys covered it pretty well there, that it feels to me like Demko was feeling something coming on, maybe where Adam Foote talked about him compensating. He used his own experience as the back surgery, and he was clear that this is not what we're going down with Demko, but he was just drawing on personal experience. But I think there's a couple of important pieces, and Blake, you hit on the one, that he didn't play the other night. He has not played since the Nashville game. That was Monday. This is Friday. And I think the other piece of the equation here is Thursday was a full team day off. Like, if a guy takes a maintenance day after a game, you think, okay, something last night, maybe more wear and tear than expected. Thursday was a full team day off. So this is now 2 full days off for Thatcher Demko, heading into another stretch of 3 and 4, and not just 3 and 4, but the big boys in the NHL are calling on this Vancouver Hockey Club. I think there was a world in which Kevin Lankinen was always going to get the Columbus game on Saturday to give Demko an opportunity, an extra day rest to face Colorado, and then be ready again to go against Winnipeg on Tuesday. Now, all of that is completely thrown into flux here, and you heard Adam Foote when I followed up and said, is he an option for this weekend? And he said, we'll see. We'll take it day by day. So they had to get Jiri Patera here. He was in Colorado with the Abbotsford Canucks. If they pushed this to tomorrow and found out that Demko, woke up and just isn't an option, then that's where trouble sets in, because your farm team is on the road. So that's the reason they made the call on the emergency basis today. Jiri Patera is in transit. They had a practice goaltender on the ice here so that they had 2 guys tending the nets. But Kevin Lankinen, he better rest up and be ready to go, because there's absolutely a world in which he has to face both Columbus and Colorado here this weekend.
Okay, let me follow up with a couple of things. I mean, Demko backed up on Wednesday.
And was he at the game day skate too?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they felt good enough about him Wednesday, at least, for him to back up.
Yeah.
Secondly, this was the first opportunity for him to get on the ice, because they traveled on Tuesday. They stayed in Nashville and traveled, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Then game day, then yesterday's off day, and then Friday. Okay. Let me ask you this. Is the fact that they called up Patera and not Tolopilo a sign that they're not too concerned about this? Because
Tolapilo's injured, I believe.
Oh, is Tolopilo injured too, Jeff?
He was. I'm not sure where we were having this debate amongst the media crew here. He got injured in a game making a spectacular save. It may have been the home opener night the banner went up. And left that game, and I don't believe he has played since. So I don't know the extent there, but I think this is Jiri Patera is a guy with 8 games of NHL experience, and in fact, beyond Demko and Lankinen, he's got the most NHL games on his resume of anybody else in the organization. It was 1 year ago yesterday that his season ended in Abbotsford when he had a season-ending injury, and so 1 year plus 1 day, now he's getting the call. This is why they signed him last year, was to be insurance, to be a tweener. And with the struggles of Artur Silovs last year at the NHL level, you wonder if it would have been as simple as giving Patera an opportunity, but he just wasn't an option then. So he basically missed all of last year. But was an afterthought through training camp and didn't play a preseason game for the Canucks, was among the early send-downs. And so you kind of wondered where he fit into everything. They've been rolling with 4 goaltenders out in Abbotsford. They eventually sent Koskinen-Vuo down to Kalamazoo, but they still have 3 goalies. And Patera has played out in Abbotsford, and we'll see. I can't imagine that it's in the cards that he gets a start here this weekend. But if this turns into something more, they may have to. They may have no choice but to turn to Jiri Patera.
Okay, because I interpreted it as, Patera is the emergency guy. If they actually thought someone needed to play, it would be Tolopilo, whose numbers are superior to Patera's in this young season in Abbotsford, and of course, who got those starts at the end of last season. Tolopilo has a future in this organization. Patera is kind of the behind glass break in case of emergency guy. But if Tolopilo is fighting something, then absolutely, yes, Patera is their only option, and that maybe makes for a world where Jiri Patera is playing this weekend. Although, and I've heard people talk about that, The back-to-back thing is a little overrated with goaltenders, huh? Like, I've heard Steve Valiquette speak on this of ClearSight Analytics, that the save percentage doesn't actually drop precipitously if the goaltender, in the rare occasions when the goaltender has to play back-to-backs.
Well, and not all back-to-backs are created equally. The one in Chicago
Correct.
and in Dallas the following night, not the same as sleeping in your own bed, having the luxury of waking up in your own city, walking to the rink and being ready to go, if that's the road that they have to travel this weekend. Now, it's back-to-back for Colorado as well. Colorado is in Edmonton, the featured game on Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada. So, we're going to see this a lot this year where both teams are playing the back end of back-to-backs, but it's a busy weekend regardless, and that's a heavy workload and one that goaltenders aren't used to. But in a pinch, Kevin Lankinen, if he has to, I would imagine, would be up to the challenge and the task if the Canucks tap him for both games against the Jackets and the Avalanche.
It gets curious if they think it's going to be a week for Demko, and do you ask Lankinen to play all 3 of the 3 and 4? That's starting to get a little bit angsty, but you might have to. And again, that's why Lankinen might be worth the $5 million that they're paying him, is to fill in on this sort of basis. For a team that's trying to rally from 7 and 8, Jeff, I mean, the hits keep coming, right? I mean, this is probably taking a toll inside the room, I'm guessing, to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, I think guys have faith in Lankinen. And, he gave up 4 again the other day, and he's given up too many over the course of the season here, but he's had some moments as well. And, last year proved that he could play and run with the ball for a while. It's just, you hope that this is all being handled properly with Demko because, A, he's had such a nice start to the season. We know what he means to this team. It has looked on a lot of nights like he's regained that form that really he didn't get an opportunity in his 23 starts last year due to injuries. And so, preventative maintenance was sort of the way that Adam Foote was framing this. If it is just this weekend and he's ready to come out on the other side and, gets back into his groove and does his things, then fine. But we all know with his history here, I think there are a lot of people that see this and kind of, roll their eyes a little bit and just think, uh-oh, here he goes again, here they go again. So let's see how it plays out. But yeah, I mean, in a season that's already taken so many hits with injuries, this is sort of the one guy that, fingers crossed that he was going to be able to be there for them all season long. And here we are a month into the season, and he looks like he's going to need at least a weekend off.
Well, if there's one thing I've learned in 25 years in this business is when someone in officialdom says to you off the top, it's not a story, particularly in an organization that has the history of lack of transparency and in some cases dishonesty as the Vancouver Canucks. That does get my radar.
Well, I think everybody was worried about maintenance.
I will say in his defense, though, my question was, well, what's the story on Demko?
Okay, we missed that part.
The question. So
there was some.
Yeah,
it's not a story.
As far as the other injuries, no Teddy Blueger, so there's a step backwards there. Is that safe to say?
Well, you say that, and if I could tilt my laptop camera, which I won't because it may not get back to a reasonable position, Teddy Blueger and Jonathan Lekkerimäki are on the ice behind me, on their own with a skills coach in non-contact jerseys. Now, Blueger was part of the group the other day at the morning skate, but left about halfway through on his own accord, and I don't know if that was part of the plan. Whatever the case, I thought, okay, that's a step that when they get this practice day on Friday, he's going to be part of it. He was not, but he's there. So we've now laid eyes on Blueger twice on skates. So that seems like some progress. And that's the first time I've seen Lekkerimäki. They had said 3 to 4 weeks. The injury happened on October the 19th. So that sort of checks out that he's getting sort of on the periphery of being an option here before too long. And then I asked, is there any update on Nils Höglander? Because he was spotted here in the press box the other night out of the walking boot and, friendly moment with a few of the media members. And Adam Foote said he's ahead of schedule. That's all that he would say. But he's not anywhere close yet. But if we were looking at December, sometime into December, for Nils Höglander, I mean, here it is, the end of the first week of November, and the coach saying that he's ahead of schedule. So that's some promising news at the very least on the injury front. And there hasn't been much of that over the first month of the schedule.
Who are we missing on the injured list? Do you have any?
Mancini hangs around. Mancini's on the bench every day at practice, but still no sense of, and I don't think he's been on skates. And forward, your guess is as good as mine. Oh, Hedl, he was asked about Hedl, and he basically said nothing really there to report. Somebody asked, is Hedl here with the team? And Adam Foote said he's been in and out. So I don't know where the out part is or where he would go or if that's to seek treatment. But really, that's not much of an update if people were somehow hoping that Philip Hedl was imminent to get back around this group.
Well, and of course, with concussions, there are all sorts of triggers, in some cases light sensitivity, motion, and whatnot. So it being in and out may very well mean, he's not here for very good reasons that are part of his recovery, and it's not an indication of his not making progress if he's not in the building. I do want to ask you about the forward combinations that we saw at practice this morning, Jeff. Vander Kane with Elias Paterson and Connor Garland. It looks like after three really good games in his last four, that Evander Kane is being used as a bit of a heater here for EP40.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and we can get there eventually, but to me, the bigger one is down on the third line. Brock Boeser is not only there, but on the left side. So, then it becomes moving the deck chairs around a little bit. And Evander Kane with his 10 shots the other night and back-to-back games with goals. He's feeling it right now. So we know that Paterson and Garland have had some chemistry throughout the season. It wasn't EP40's best night the other night, but Garland back in the lineup. So, I'm not surprised to see that trio is together. Drew O'Connor, I guess this is an indication of the coach seeing a guy that's been busting it here of late and had the goal overturned the other night, but had a nice road trip, scored a couple of times in Minnesota there. The effort's always been there with O'Connor. It's just a lack of finish. Now, Drew O'Connor in your top six on a really good hockey club, that's not sure. I'm not sure that that's, in the best interests of a true contender, but we know that the Canucks aren't. And Lucas Reichel, I talked to him after practice today, trying to remain positive, put on a sort of happy face as we talked about the lack of production and just adjusting to life in a new city 2 weeks after the trade. And so you've got O'Connor, who's actually playing reasonably well and starting to produce. And then you got Reichel and DeBrusk, both of whom they just need a whole lot more from both of those guys. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag there. And then, is that message sending to Brock Boeser?
I think this is the second line, though, Jeff. I think this is the second line. I think in deployment, this is going to be the second line.
That's how they rolled, numerically through the line rushes. Gotcha. But I hear you. And when you got your 9-goal scorer and a 6-goal scorer, Boeser's got 6 goals in 12 games. It's a 40-goal pace. He did only have one shot among the 45 that the Canucks had the other night against Chicago. So a little bit of an uncharacteristically quiet night for Brock, but other people were shooting and so we'll see, but I was surprised. Sherwood looked to me like a guy that had some versatility to slide over and play the left side, where Boeser has been a right winger through and through throughout his career. But again, once you get into the offensive zone, you can kind of throw the positions out the window a little bit there. So, there's a 9-goal scorer and a 6-goal scorer on that line. Yeah. You're right, Blake. Just statistically, you could probably make the argument that might be your top line or your most
Räty's on a bit of a heater too. So
and honestly, shooting, if he is on the left side and the offense, shooting on your offhand is not the worst thing, right? Oftentimes that's an easier shot to put in the back of the net. Okay, Jeff. Just lastly, we're going to get to these stats here in a second, but Quinn Hughes is rocking a career high in expected goals for per 60. He's rocking a career low in goals for per 60, not to mention a career low in terms of individual point percentage. He is not getting points when the Canucks are scoring goals when he is on the ice. A word or two about the captain here, what you've seen from him, what you hope to see from him this weekend and going forward, because it seems like this team is crying out for Quinn Hughes to be dominant Norris Trophy winner, and we haven't seen that this season.
Yeah, and look, he wasn't very good defensively the other night. In that third period, Tyler Myers struggled mightily, but so did Quinn, and a little bit too much puck watching there, and that's not something that he's generally associated with. But I thought he came back and looked pretty good in Nashville after missing the 4 games. He seemed to have his burst, and some of the spins and the things that we're accustomed to seeing from him. Didn't see much of that from him on Monday night or Wednesday night, I guess it was, against Chicago. So there has to be some internal concern. I would think Quinn's his own harshest critic. He knows that he's nowhere close to the best version of himself right now. But this team can't wait a whole lot longer. You're right. They don't have many options. And so when you look at ways that they can improve, he is one of them. And two ends of the ice. Generally, he defends so well by spending his shifts in the offensive end and not having to worry about defending. But even the opening goal in Nashville the other night where he jumped up into the neutral zone and was a beat late and then didn't love the back check there as he sort of sauntered into his own zone. So I would expect that, if it is just sort of a moment for him right now, that if he's not dealing with anything, that he's fully healthy as he got back from the groin issue, he'll figure it out. But we're all still waiting to have a night here where you leave the rink and hands down best player on the ice. And look, this is as surface level as it gets, but if you go to ESPN's Vancouver Canucks page, they have game by game, who was the goaltender, and then they call it top performer. We're 15 games in. Quinn's missed 4 of them. But he has not been a top performer. And I think it's, when I say surface level, it's just, goals and assists, basically. But it's kind of jarring to look at a Canucks game log and 11 games he's played, and he hasn't been considered the top performer once. And they're not wrong. They're just not wrong. And so, we've seen some of the body language stuff. The other night was at a loss to sort of explain what happened in that third period. He just doesn't look himself right now, and that is mildly concerning, just given the massive big picture around him and the hockey club. But, he is a pro through and through, and so I trust that he will get it sorted out, but this conversation can't continue. We can't do this next Friday asking what's wrong with Quinn Hughes or where is Quinn Hughes. They need this guy ASAP. And here they go again with 3 and 4 and then cross-continent travel and another 3 and 4. I was surprised to hear Adam Foote lean into the fatigue post-game the other night. And there may be an element of it, but guess what? This schedule is unrelenting this year. And if fatigue's an issue in game 15, these next 6 take them back down to the southeast and time zones, and it's just going to keep on being an issue, and it will be for everybody. So they got to figure it out. They can't rely
and he's
on
nursing
that
something too, and he's nursing something too, right? Everybody's complaining about nagging this, nagging that. It's not going to go away when you play 6 games in 9 days.
Well, but honestly, guys, fatigue. It's November 7th. You're 15 games in. And if fatigue is such a problem, why is Quinn playing 26-46 a night? Ronick playing 24-41 a night.
No,
anyway,
Ducks don't seem to be fatigued.
Yeah, no,
these
exactly.
days.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff. Busy weekend. Who's in with you Saturday, Sunday here on RinkWide?
Yeah, I got Patrick Johnson, who's sitting here in press row with me, writing his story as we speak. He'll be my Saturday co-host. Irf working a rare Sunday, but it is the Avalanche, so I got Irf coming back on Sunday night. And,
okay.
The CBJ team can be sneaky. They got their lunch fed to them in Calgary, so they're not going to be happy. That was the same sort of situation with the Rangers a week ago, and they came in and got the result they were looking for. Columbus has some top-end skill, and it's funny, and just something to keep an eye on as the game goes on Saturday night. Blue Jackets have 11 goals from their defensemen already this year. No other team in the league has more than 8. So it's not just Zach Werenski. He's got 4, I think, but they get a ton from the back end. And I know that was part of Adam Foote's grand plan when he had a healthy team. He wanted to generate more from the back end. The Vancouver Canucks have 2 goals from defensemen. One's an empty netter from Quinn in Dallas, his only goal of the season. Tyler Myers, the only defenseman with a goal in the run of play for the Vancouver Canucks to this point. So just something to keep an eye on. And then always an event when Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar and the rest of the Colorado Avalanche come to town. So looking forward to that on Sunday. And then Winnipeg will wrap up the homestand on Tuesday.
Am I misremembering, or did the Canucks sweep the Avalanche last year, Jeff? I think they swept them. I think Sherwood was great in a couple of those games as well.
He had a hat trick last year. I remember that game before Christmas.
Right. They gave away a point.
December 16th, they beat Colorado 3-1, and then they beat them a couple of other times as well. And they scored 5 and 6 goals against Columbus last year in the 2 meetings. The last one was in defeat, 7-6.
That was a crazy one.
In the shootouts, Jeff. We could only hope to have that game tomorrow night, a sleepy Saturday night. at Rogers Arena. Thanks for this, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good show.
All right,
Shows.
guys. Talk to you on Monday.
Yeah, that's Jeff.